It's electric. There we go. Hey there, Internet. Keeve here, and welcome to the Cars and Keeve YouTube channel. As you can see, I'm smiling on my face. We're doing yet another pressure washer review, the thing I love to do most. Now, what is the difference between this one and everything out there? Well, it's got an innovation I'll tell you about just in a second. It's pretty freaking cool. You may have seen it in the preview in the very beginning, but this is very much like a Giraffe Tools G20. Sits on a pivot. This gets mounted on the wall. Now, one thing that I hate about it is I wish it was just able to sit like this, because on concrete, even on this table, I was able to completely retract this without it moving. So it can be done and it can retract back, no problem. But the hose inlet is at the bottom, so you can't put a hose in it at all. It says it does 2,400 PSI, 2.4 gallons per minute. We're not going to get that. Those are those internal numbers, those Amazon marketing numbers. Those aren't realistic. It's actually a really good hose. It's a very small diameter compared to what I'm used to, but it's a very good hose. I was very surprised with how flexible it was. The retraction, it's electric. Yes, it is motorized. Yeah, it's a little loud there. Motorized retraction. And you got the button up here, but also in the gun, there's a controller. Yeah, you can push the button, stop as much as you want, reel it all the way in, good to go. It sits in this gun, which I thought it just kind of just like sits in here. Yeah, it can pop out. So just got to be careful when you drop it, but it's not going to break. It's just going to pop out and go right back in there. Now it does come with a foam cannon as well. This is a standard old school basic foam cannon. It does have an orifice, so it can be changed out. These do work. They don't foam the best, but they do work. It has the worst balance of any foam cannon out there for sure, but it does have dilution markings on there all the way from 100 to 1,000 in increments of 100. It has the same buttons as the remote. You have on off, you have your reverse, but you also have a button to change 5 different levels of pressure. Basically, if you had an unloader valve on a pressure washer, you can turn it up and down. The gun itself, M22 14 millimeters, actually not bad. It's actually really durable up here, nice and strong and stout. Comes with an M22 wand that will hook right up to it. You'll screw that down. There is a nozzle holder. This is actually all rubber. Just one big solid piece of rubber to put these nozzles into. And you have your normal size nozzles. You have your 15 degree, 25 degree, 40 degree, and 0 degree. They are stamped 1.8. So actually we might get a pretty decent amount of pressure, maybe 1,600 to 1,800. We'll see what kind of pump it is and how well it works. It does come with some decent bolts right here. Not something I would use to like go into like say if you're putting on your back porch into a big like 6x6 wooden post. I would use lag bolts. It does have the 4 bolts and the ability to like slide it on and go down. But the problem is they're not 16 inches apart. So you won't be able to go from stud to stud, only one side will. So it's probably best to take like a big piece of wood, going across 2 studs, get in there and then mount this in the middle of that. Now the company's called Swipesmith. There's like really no model name. I want to shout out Fred at Glovebox. He reached out and said, hey, have you seen this before? And I'm like, no, let me check it out. It was $3.99, but it had a $40 off coupon, so it's about $3.60. And the biggest competition to this would be Giraffe Tools. Their G20 is a really good unit. I really like it. The gray hose is very flexible, but this is even more flexible. I think this is a better hose than that gray one. I like the looks of this one a lot better. It literally looks like an Alienware PC from like the 2010 to 2015, something in there. Look at it. It looks like a PC cabinet. Much more appealing than the Giraffe Tools for sure. I like some of the other Giraffe Tools. They're 100-foot ones. The G20 is a 65-foot, but it's only in the low $200 range. So the closest to this would be the Plus Giraffe Tools. It is all plastic, but it's pretty decent plastic. It's not like El Cheapo. Cover comes off real nice. I'll show you in a little bit technically what's behind the cover. The hose is replaceable. I can't say anything bad about it right now, but we haven't tested the pressure washer numbers either. Now, obviously, this is a car washing channel, car detailing stuff. Is this pressure washer good for car washing? But it's also going to be good for other things around the house. So it has a 100-foot cord. Mount this somewhere in your garage on the back porch. You can wash cars. You can do stuff around the house as well. Upgrade path is easy. It is a 14 millimeter, which goes like this, M22 on one side, and then you just have a quick connect on this side. You hook up your gun. This is the McKillen Swivel Pro, amazing gun, really light trigger, swivel is amazing. But what if your gun has an M22 on the bottom? Perfect. This Suprints gun is 20 bucks. It has a built-in swivel and has M22 to this host. You don't have to buy the quick connect. Just a really good gun. But this right here, that's a whole nother level. Now for the testing and everything, we're just going to use all the stock components. But we're going to take the gun and we're going to make it shorter with an adapter. And that would be this adapter. About the same as the one we just showed earlier, but this is a 1/4 inch. So it allows us to take the end of our gun and shorten it up. And now we have the same quick connect that's at the end of the wand. So we can put our nozzles in there and have it shorter, especially your foam cannon. This is an adapter that I would say is a must to me, especially if you're going to use that foam cannon, because now you're much closer. You can almost do it one hand with this longer gun. But when you have that foam cannon at the end of this, it's just really cumbersome. Taking the quick connect off the end of the foam cannon here so we can check the orifice in there. Yep, it is exactly a 125. Well, since you have to lift this up in order to mount it on a wall, we got to know how much it weighs, and 35.36 pounds, which isn't that bad. That is much lighter than the Giraffe Tools 100 foot. I couldn't tell you if this thing is going to last tomorrow or if it's going to last a year from now. When these products come from Amazon, it's very hit or miss, so buyer beware. Forgot to mention the length of the electrical cable is only 10 foot. It is GFCI. Looks to be about a 14 AWG cable here. If you're going to use an extension cord to go with this, 14 AWG is the minimum size that you're going to want for this, especially if you're going to go to 30 or 50 feet of electrical cord. I prefer 12 AWG. Well, that's about it, but we gotta do it one more time. There we go. So don't forget to check out the links below for anything in the video. This will be linked below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get the testing. So if you take all the screws off on this side, it opens up the inside. Now I've already taken this hose off of its assembly, but I'll show you on there in a minute. But there's your pump down there. Hose runs from that. It actually comes into a quick connect right here. That goes into the elbow assembly for this. This little push button right here releases this hose. That's actually the hose itself. That adapter, I have no idea what that is. This is the Adams Pro 2.0 adapter. This is also for Ava and a few others. This would, change it to where you could be able to use it with a bigger hose, but it's a totally different wrong size. I have no idea what kind of adapter that is. Hold the hose all the way through, and then I just fed it straight through here. I made sure I reversed it to where it's dead straight across, and here we are. I can control it right here from my hand. This little window was built specifically for this. All we got to do is guide it in there. Here we go. As far as we can. Then we pop this down. Now we are secure. Now, what better way to test this than to have it all retracted out all over the place? I put the cover back on. Now, one thing you gotta watch out for is this guide right here. This guide runs across and there's a belt right here on the side. But when you take the cover off, it kind of loosens that rod here. So if it pulls this way, it'll come off that belt. So I just took a pair of needle-nose pliers, put that belt back on real easy. But before you retract this, make sure that the pump is off and you press the trigger on the spray gun to relieve all of the pressure in the line. Now, what are the odds of this retracting good? Let's find out. Oh, did it? Oh, I didn't even touch it. Look at that. And look at this. Like I said, like I showed earlier, look at how flexible this hose is. Is it 100 feet? Let's find out. There's some curvature and there's some slope, so it's definitely 100 feet. Well, the great thing about measuring it is we can watch it retract again. Here we go. And I gotta tell you, Look at how flat this hose is laying. Like, this is a pretty dang good hose. So we're all set up. I have put the shorter adapter on here. It does not change performance at all. I strongly suggest this if you're going to keep the stock gun, which is pretty decent with the remote control and everything, how it's set up. I just don't like how long it is. And I don't like the trigger compared to a really good pressure washer gun. We're going to check decibels as well. We're going to purge all the air out. We're going to turn it on from here and see what it sounds like. I'm about 7 feet from the unit. Now it's about 80 to 81 dB, which I was expecting because the pressure coming out of the nozzle, the spray, that sound is right around 80 to 82 decibels, depending on the pressure washer. I'm gonna go right here and we get closer to the unit, see what its decibels are. 79 dB from about 4 feet. So that's a pretty quiet machine. It doesn't make these screeching, whistling sounds. It's actually not bad. That's not a bad sound. I will warn you, this is a pretty decent hose, but if your hose is fixed to a pressure washer gun without a swivel, it is going to want to coil up on you no matter what. I'm going to tell you right now, that is nowhere near 2400 PSI. That felt like less than 1,000. Are these tips different sizes? No, it says it's a 1.8. I'm actually on 4 bars. I totally forgot that this has 5 different settings. Setting 1. Yes, setting 2. Setting 3. Setting 4. Here's setting 5. I mean, the fan spray is very uniform. Nice, but there's no way that's anywhere near 2000 PSI. So let's get a gauge. That's also running right at about 12.5 amps. So we are like lower end on the amps. We're not going crazy. This is the white tip. 1370. Using the green tip just to make sure, because sometimes they cut them different, but these are all stating 1.8, so they should all have the same pressure. Yeah, the same 1370, just to gauge the max. I have a 1.0 nozzle right here. Now I'm pretty sure this machine is not a full 15 amp machine. It's probably a 13 or 14 amp motor. So this may push it a bit, but we're gonna see what the max PSI is. It's not gonna be 2400 PSI, I guarantee that. There's your 1750 that I was thinking it could do. The amps on that was like 14. So it's pretty clear the 15 amp circuit. I myself would not suggest doing that. If you went to a 1.5 nozzle, I think you'll be okay. Usually those manufacturers, when they give you one at the whatever size it is, it's usually the most they want you to do for the safety of the motor, stuff like that. We're going to go up now to see more car washing type numbers, but I will say at 1350 stock, it's not going to be the greatest in the world at cleaning like concrete and stuff, but it's going to work. Most of the Ryobis and Greenworks, they get 1500, 1600, 1700 PSI a stock. So 1350 is a little low, but if the GPM is better than them, then the cleaning power is still there. Let's check a 2.5. That was a monster drop to 950. That might be the highest nozzle we can go. We're going to put a 3.0 on here. It's going to be one of those smart board type machines. Obviously, since we have, a selection of different strengths to use, it's got some kind of computer board on there, right? Yeah, like 750 on the 3.0. Unless it's doing an awesome amount of gallons per minute, it's not going to be worth it. So this is Eco. About 1150. So max 1350, 1150. I figure you're stepping up like 50 to 75 PSI or something like that on each one of these rings. Time to foam, we have 1 ounce of Incredible Suds by DIY Detail in the foam can. We're gonna fill it all the way up to the max line. That's our normal dilution. It's just an amazing, good cleaning soap. It doesn't just foam, it's good cleaning. It has 8.5 pH. Code Cars with Keeve will save you 10% at both DIY Detail or the House of Rags. But the House of Rags, tons of selection to mix and match brands and products to get you to that free shipping. Best thing about this one is I can turn it off and I can fill up my foam cannon. You can definitely tell that smaller diameter hose, the stream that comes out of the gun is much smaller. If this doesn't foam, you're gonna need to switch to a smaller orifice because this is about one of the best foaming soaps that you can possibly get. And only 1 ounce. Here we go. Actually, that's quite good. And with a 1.25 orifice nozzle, what's the amps on that? That's only 10 amps. So there's more than enough room if you went to a 1.1. You'd be well within the safe amp range for that machine. This leaves me hope that the GPM might actually be pretty good if it can foam like that with a 125 stock. So here's the stock 40 degree to rinse. Time for the flow test. And the reason flow is important is because the more water we can get out, especially in car washing, the more water, the easier it is to rinse. It just gets the soap off easier. But also in the cleaning world, 1500 psi at 1 gallon per minute does not clean as good as 1500 psi at 1.5 gallons per minute. The amount of water flowing through is more. So the more volume of water, there's more particles hitting the panel, but they may be hitting at the same pressure, 1500 psi, but there's more of them. There's more water. The more, the better. Now in car washing, we want to target 900 to 1100 psi, depending. Some people like more, some people like less. If you use a 25 degree nozzle, you can go as low as 800 to 900 because narrowing that fan, narrowing all those particles into a smaller form, you're going to get more impact in that smaller area. But it's going to take a little bit longer to rinse because you don't have as big of a spray pattern. We have a gallon bucket, 1 minute on the clock. We fill it up, we weigh it. The bucket's already tared out at 0, so whatever weight in there is water weight, 8.34 pounds per gallon. Well, not looking great at 9.06 pounds, comes out to 1.09 gallons per minute. That isn't great at 1370 psi. Our Greenworks or Ryobi will do 1.2 gallons per minute at about 1600 psi. So not impressed with the performance compared to them, but can the retraction outweigh the numbers? Let's see. Let's bump it up to a 2.5 and a 3.0. So here's the 2.5, and what we saw earlier is a massive pressure drop to about 950. So the GPM should go up significantly. Let's see. Well, not the number I was expecting. On a 2.5, it's running 1.24 gallons per minute. That's lackluster. Like my excitement has fallen out of my voice. It's still a good unit for somebody just around the house looking to clean off the back porch, looking for something to do, but is that worth $350? The electric retraction is great, but the performance is just, it's not there. Now I'm gonna go back to the stock nozzle and I'm gonna see what it's like at Eco, because Eco was like 1100 psi. Maybe it'll be better. Who knows? Well, in Eco mode, we got less gallons per minute. So 8.7 pounds. I'm not even going to equate that. It's probably like 1 GPM. Last thing we do is just go to a 3.0 and see what our max gallons per minute is at like 750 psi. Well, that basically really didn't improve at all. Barely 1.25 gallons per minute. Obviously, the marketing on Amazon is horrible. 2400 psi, 2.4 gallons per minute. Yeah, right. That's just so far off, and it's okay if it's a little bit off, but it's just so people are out there. They have this on their house, and they think that it has that, and it doesn't. It's just it's disappointing. So my final thoughts, and after the numbers kind of discourage me, remember for the normal consumer, if you're looking at this as a normal consumer, if you're putting this on the back of your house and you want that 100-foot, nice, flexible, and you don't want to guide it in, you don't want, the retraction and everything, you hit the button and it does it for you. The numbers at 1370 at 1.1 gallons per minute, it's more than enough to do like a lot of stuff around the house. I'm just a car wash guy and I'm a numbers guy, so I just like all these crazy numbers. But it foamed well with the 1.25 straight out of the box, the foam cannon. So that works there. So for somebody who washes their car every now and then, doesn't care about the numbers, this is going to work just fine for you. For those of you who are into the numbers or into car washing about gallons per minute and rinsing and this and that, you're going to be really disappointed. It just has so much good for it going with the functions that it has, but they really just didn't make it there on the pump. The pump is not there. They just cheaped out on the pump, I would assume. I couldn't tell you how long this would last. It does have a 12-month warranty, and on the top of the thing, it has a thing for an 18-month extended warranty. I don't know what that means. You'll have to figure that out. I'm not going that far into it. With these products, it's fair warning. You don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get the best one. Sometimes you get one that have people complaining on. There's no reviews out on it, so we don't really know. So buyer beware. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out the links below for anything in the video. And I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, kid. Hey, cool. You can use 14 days to eat it, but that's going to give you, so we can, oh my gosh. Freaking hate these unbalanced foam cans. Ah, pounds. Pounds. We're not doing Bam Bam, Colombian Bam Bam. We kilograms. We need pounds. There's nothing. That got up my leg. I had that on Eco. What a waste. That was just a waste of time. You had it on Eco.